It was mentioned earlier that we don't have any clergy in the Baha'i faith, but what we do have are spiritual institutions on a local, national, and universal level that are democratically elected by the Baha'is around the world through prayer and meditation. And they're just here to guide us and support us among many things. Our supreme governing body, which is the Universal House of Justice, among many of the things that they do, one thing that they're in charge of is just guiding us with plans. Like, okay, do your own personal life, do what you gotta do to get by, but as a world community, let's have this goal. So right now we have a 5-year plan. I'm gonna briefly talk about it. And basically, that plan encompasses a lot of the spiritual tools that I mentioned earlier. One of them, there's 4 core activities. One of them is children's classes. So we basically offer free children's classes to our neighborhoods where children learn about virtues, honesty, trustworthiness, responsibility, and they read a story about it, they sing a song about it, they color about it, they talk about it and discuss it, and they really just inhale these virtues, share them with their brothers and sisters, and then their goal is to kind of like think about how they can use those virtues and what they learned in their lives. And so then maybe the next week the teacher will be like, okay, how did honesty show up in your life this week? Or how did it, whatever, right? So amazing tools to just really nurture our children, which is so important. There are some studies that have been done that say that all of our programming, basically 50% of our programming, we inhale by the time we are 4 years old. It's how we see the world, how we move, how we start to relate to things. We learn so much of that at such a young age. Another 30% by the time we are 8 years old. So it's important that we take care of our children. Another core activity we have is for our youth, because they are going through all types of things too, getting to that stage where getting into high school, about to be facing all types of challenges with sex and drugs and all types of things, that they have to start facing. But if they already have that good, strong foundation at a young age and have those tools, I would imagine it would make a big difference in how they face those challenges and move through the world. Another core activity we have is study circles, where we open our homes or wherever we gather together and we just read the holy writings and we share our opinion and we learn from each other and immerse these beautiful words and try to apply it to our lives. Another one is devotional gatherings, where we basically have prayer gatherings to support each other, support our community, be there for each other. Maybe you have a family member who's sick, someone who's passed. Right now a lot of people are financially struggling. Maybe you just want someone to hold support for you to find a new job or whatever it is. But those are a lot of the things that all Baha'is around the world, this is our goal. This is what we're doing. We are not only providing these activities for ourselves, but just for our community, so that we have a spiritual support system anywhere you go on a consistent basis that we can all benefit from. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about, you'll see why I had to bring all that up, but basically I want to talk about how family life and community life affects our planet at large. And I'm going to start by, I'm going to use my family as an example. I'm going to start by talking about my father. My father's been in prison most of my life, in and out, but pretty much there since I've existed here. And for the short amount of times that he was out, even then, I really didn't feel like I ever had a father. It definitely affected me in a lot of ways. Whether it was not feeling like I had a positive role model from any male, because I was never really super close with any man. I didn't really have any uncles, cousins, brothers. It was kind of just me, mom, and grandma, and my beautiful grandpa who would visit from Iran every few years, and that was great, but I really didn't have a positive male role model in my life. And thank God I've done some healing and processing through it all, but it still affected me. That's just real. And his children were affected by it. We all got abandonment issues and whatever. But so that's some ways that his choices, for whatever reason, affected his family, his friends, in our personal life. I want to talk a little bit now about how the implications and decisions he's made affect our society at large. There's a book I read called No More Prisons by William Upsky Wimsatt. It's a very small book. It's amazing, has great information in it. And I'd like to read a little bit about it to kind of intake the greater understanding of how the prison system affects our society. The cycle goes like this. The media needs higher ratings to sell more advertising, so they run more sensational crime shows that scare the public. The prison industry needs more people in prison to boost profits, so they lobby for more prison construction. Politicians need to create jobs for construction workers and prison guards, and they need to be seen as tough on crime. They pass tougher crime laws and kill 3 birds with 1 stone. More low-skilled jobs are created in the prison industry. Campaign contributors in the prison industry are repaid, and the tough on crime image plays well with voters whipped into a false frenzy by the media over their fear of crime. More than 60% of all prisoners now are incarcerated for non-violent offenses. 1.2 million people, according to the Bureau of Justice Statistics. A Senate subcommittee took a national survey of prison wardens. Now, these are prison wardens, not the most liberal of folks. The survey found that 92% of wardens believe greater use should be made of alternatives to incarceration. And more significantly, wardens believe that on average, half the offenders under their supervision could be released without endangering public safety. But prisons are a $100 billion industry. A lot of money is being made. So the prisons must be built. The beds must be filled. It seems to me prisons need to be reserved for the most violent, most predatory members of society, as legendary Black Panther Eddie Ellis, who runs the Community Justice Center in Harlem. In 1997, he was named Prison Life's Magazine Man of the Year. All these people who are drug addicts or who write fat checks, they don't belong in prison. The drug addicts are probably better dealt with in a public health setting because the socialization process in prison is very bad. A guy goes in for writing bad checks or for drugs, and he comes out a hardened criminal with no options in life but to commit crime. And there's less and less positive or rehabilitative programs. Thousands of laws have been passed since 1980. The drug war was created, gang laws enacted, mandatory minimums and truth in sentencing laws took away judges' discretion in sentencing. Legal aid to poor people was cut dramatically, and a growing number of citizens, 13% of all Black men, are now ineligible to vote because of prior criminal records.